Hi, welcome to Polyphonic Press. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
I'm John Van Dyke.
And today we're going to be talking about Sony's new tape that holds 185 terabytes. Here we go. So I'm sure you've heard by now that Sony has unveiled a new tape that holds 185 terabytes, which is probably the most storage any one device has been able to hold. And this, a lot of speculation, a lot of talk has been going around that Sony is planning on basically killing the iPod with this new technology of holding this amount of data.
Or at least improving upon it.
Or at least, yeah, they could. That's another thing. They could also sell the technology, the license for the technology to Apple, and they could improve upon the iPod.
I doubt they'll do that.
Yeah, no, not many people listen to iPods anymore. But this got us. They haven't said anything about what they're actually going to do with this. I think it's mostly about backing up like corporate files and security things and stuff like that. But a lot of the music geeks have commented on the possibility of it actually being used as a music storage device. And they crunched the numbers, and basically, what was it? 64 million songs.
Yeah, 64 million songs,
which is about 8 million days, which we figured out was about 22,000 years. So one of these devices could basically hold about 22,000 years.
The playlist will outlive you.
Yeah, and it also
several times over.
Yeah, and it got us thinking about, well, you know, how much music is actually out there? Like, how much music is, like, we're talking about, like, recorded music has only been around for, I think it's about 100 years or so.
A little over 100 years, but...
And, yeah, and so, like, if you wanted to, with one of these devices, you could actually have every single recorded song.
We're surmising. We're pretty sure that 64 million songs pretty much covers everything that's out there. And this is including, well, you have to go to every corner culture of the world. You would have to get every demo, every bonus track, every demo of bonus track, every live version, every thing, and I still don't think you'd make it all up.
No. Well, I mean, you look at a band like the Grateful Dead, who recorded every single one of their shows.
The Black Crowes
recorded every single one of their shows. You know,
jam bands especially like doing that.
Yeah. There's no way you could get all of the songs that you wanted. But I mean, this is a really cool thing. If they actually wanted to create a device that holds this amount of memory, they could create a music player. You know what? They should really team up with Neil Young and see about improving the storage capacity of his Pono device.
For the benefit of the whole project or whatnot, but I think they, I doubt they won't. They will, because they seldom do in this sort of business.
Yeah.
But that would be really interesting to see what they could come up with, the two.
Yeah.
Also, actually, with that much storage space, the thing is, wouldn't all be used for music.
No, that's the thing that they're planning on using it for, is basically storage backup for
large corporations and stuff like that. Yeah, I realize that. But I mean, even if you were to put it on your phone, it would operate pretty much everything on your phone, and you could operate anything on your phone.
Yeah,
with that sort of thing.
The problem with the tape is that it's an analog mechanical thing. So putting files on it is a really long process. It takes so that's why it's not ready for commercial use yet. They haven't figured out a way, because like plugging something into like a hard drive into a USB port and transferring files on it is a pretty fast thing. Putting it on a tape, yeah, you can store more on it, but it's going to take a lot longer to transfer all those files onto the tape.
Unless they've developed a way to do that quickly too. Either
that's what I'm saying.
If you were doing it the conventional way, like with that, can you imagine tapes, recording 64 million songs on a tape and then having to fast forward through them all?
That's the other thing we're talking about too.
We're totally joking about this, but
it's a reality. That's one of the drawbacks of cassette tapes is you had to do that. When you wanted to find your favorite song, you had to fast forward and rewind to try and find it.
But I doubt that's the way they're going to do that. Like that, because that would just be completely impractical. But
yeah. So yeah, they would, if they wanted to make a music player out of it, they would have to have some sort of digital interface where you could skip songs and it would quickly find the song that you're looking for.
Or you could be spending all 22,000 years of your existence.
Yeah. So
fast forwarding to the one you want to listen to.
So what I think is going to, if you remember back in the 90s, they actually used tape as storage devices for a lot of computers. So the reason is because it held more than a hard drive. So what I think might happen is they're doing this with the cassette tape now, and then with the technology that they've developed with the tape, they're going to somehow develop that into a hard drive so that you will be able to store 185 terabytes on a single hard drive. So I think that might be the path that I don't think the tape itself is going to be a consumer product, but I think it's going to open the door for Sony to develop a consumer product that can hold that amount of storage. That's what I think is going to happen anyway.
It doesn't even seem that long. Okay, this is sort of a sidestep. It's related though, because we already have the technology. Like Robin was here just this past weekend, and he was showing us how he can play Grand Theft Auto on his phone. Yeah. It wasn't even that long ago. It was like 15 years ago, but it really doesn't seem that long ago.
No, I know.
When the PlayStation 2 was coming out, and all that really high-end graphics were just, and that was blowing me away at the time. I remember being in junior high and looking at photos of this. That looks like a photograph.
Yeah.
And it was blowing my mind. And you still needed a console to do that. And even that was amazing at the time, because we're thinking back, even 15 years before that and going, you needed a room to do that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So anyway, let us know in the comments what you think. Do you think this is going to be something that Sony could develop into a music player? Do you think it's going to open up the door to something else down the road? Let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe so you know when we post new videos. And you can check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Follow John on Twitter @FunkyDutch. And that's about it. I'm Jeremy Boyd.
I'm John Van Dyke.
Take it easy.